cars driving by the whole time.
Yeah.
So this is already better.
Okay, well, I personally don't mind if you want to turn it off, though.
Okay.
I want you to get the best results. And I think now that we're just sitting, like, we won't be overheating. You know?
I'm also turning the camera away, so you don't pay attention to yourself.
Yeah. I think that's good.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I think that's good because sometimes when I talk to people on Zoom, I realize I
You
keep
watch
looking
yourself?
at my face and I'm like, oh my God, this is almost narcissistic. This is fucked.
I do that every night with my girlfriend when we have our late night talks on Google Duo.
Oh, never
not
heard
Zoom.
Of that.
Yeah, it's an Android thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think it's just that, like, I don't know. It's just so weird to, like, see your face as you're speaking because that really never happens, you know? So you're like, whoa, this is how I look when I talk?
This is what I look like when I'm in bed.
It's very
just
strange.
like sitting here like, oh.
It's very strange.
Yeah, it's awful. Okay, so we're going, and I think, I've been saying this in every podcast, but like people don't watch to the end. So promote your dates, promote your stuff now, at the beginning, at the top, when everyone's paying attention.
All right, well, in that case, I will say that we are playing August 26th at Rickshaw Stop, opening for Nicole Atkins, who is an incredible singer and songwriter and guitar player. Highly recommend checking out her music. And then we are playing the next day, Friday, August 27th, at Henry Miller Library in Big Sur with some friends, the amazing, inspiring, magical May Powell and Pador. So it's going to be a magical evening. That's like my favorite venue of all time, and it just kind of fell into place.
Yeah.
Really stoked about that.
That's amazing. Okay, I'm not going to have time to do an intro, so here are my dates. Okay, Dante Elephante is hitting the road Friday, August 27th at Big B's Bodacious Barbecue in Hotchkiss, Colorado. I don't know what to think about that show, but come on out. Saturday, August 28th at UMS, the Underground Music Showcase in Denver. Sunday, August 29th at Fort Collins Museum. Okay, I'm going to tell you about this show. It's a very weird show. It's not weird in a bad way, but it's just different.
Okay.
And then Thursday, September 2nd through 4th at the Peppermill Casino in Reno. That's we can also talk about that because I have no idea what they expect from that show. Thursday, October 14th at Cornerstone in Berkeley. October 15th, the Atrium in Santa Cruz. October 16th, the Starlet Room in Sacramento. Tuesday, October 26th, Valley Bar in Phoenix. October 27th, Alibi Room in Palm Springs. Never played Palm Springs before, so come on out. October 28th, Casbah in San Diego. Friday, October 29th, SOHO in Santa Barbara.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
And that's the last show.
And we're playing together. I wasn't going to go that far into the future, but I'm really glad you said that.
Yeah.
Because it's actually kind of convenient because we share a bandmate.
Yeah.
Yeah, Zach Wallace, who plays guitar in my band, also plays keys in your
Dante,
band.
yeah.
So we're playing a show together that night, and I think Queen Tide's playing as well.
Queen Tide's playing. It'll be all of us. It should be fun. First show since New Year's Eve before the lockdown. We played SOHO right before it all collapsed.
I never saw that, but I just heard that your shows at SOHO get really rowdy.
They literally just gave us bottles and bottles and bottles. And then like Cam from Queen Tide was just fucked up. And he had to play 2 sets that night because he's also in Clean Spill. And it got wild.
Well, that sounds really exciting because I have a life goal of crowd surfing, and I feel like this is going to be one of the shows that's going to make it possible. Because I don't think I'll be able to crowd surf at my other 2 shows. Like, for sure not Big Sur.
Yeah.
I don't know if the SF venue, if crowd surfing is going to be, like, physically possible. But I think SOHO.
At Santa Barbara, SOHO.
Yeah. But we're opening,
it's like a home
so I
show.
Might, like, just run on stage during yours and just dive up.
That'd be great.
That's my game plan. Maybe we could collab on a song where I could crowd surf.
Right. Yeah, that's what we got
for that express intent.
That's awesome. Okay, let's talk Big Sur. Yeah. Have you played Big Sur before?
Never.
I love Big Sur.
Yeah, I think it's
so fun.
Such a magical place.
Yeah. What's the show? Where are you playing it again?
Henry Miller Library.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, have you ever been there?
No, I went to Woodsist once. Woodsist Fest. And they do like a festival in Big Sur, and it's usually at Henry Miller Library, but they were doing construction on it. So it was at a different location. So I still haven't seen the Henry Miller Library.
Yeah, you've got to go there sometime. I would say come to the show, but I know you have a show on that date. But it's just a magical place. Like, it's sort of like a cabin in the woods. It's a bookstore, and it's surrounded by like a forest clearing, which I assume that's where we're performing because I know it's outdoors. And yeah, it's just a magical place. I've never seen a show there, but I've seen like a film screening.
Whoa.
Yeah.
He like lived there, right?
I don't know, honestly.
Okay.
I need to dig into, I should educate myself on this before we play the show, but yeah.
Yeah, to feel the Henry Miller like vibes.
Yeah, exactly.
If he did live there, I don't know. I heard he did.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a potential. I'll have to look into it.
Oh my God. And then, so Big Sur, that's such a crazy drive. The first time I did that drive, I was just like, whoa. For one, I thought I was going to fall off. And it took forever. It was like I saw the sign that was like San Luis Obispo, only 90 miles away, and I was like 90 miles. Okay, then I know how to get home from there.
Yeah.
So I did that whole drive, and it took hours because you can't go that fast. You're just like going left and right, and it's curving, and it's just like
totally.
Yeah,
At least it's a beautiful scenic drive.
Yes.
On the bright side. Yeah.
Do you get car sickness?
If I'm not driving. So
you have to be the driver.
I may drive for that stretch. Yeah.
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 Yeah, it's pretty bad. What about passenger? Can you do passenger?
I think I just like the best move is for me to be driving.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah. But I could probably make it work, but I definitely feel like I'm like have to go into a Zen mode and really concentrate straight ahead, and yeah.
Wow. There's these great non-drowsy, like at Lazy Acres, which is, you don't know, it's like a health food store in Santa Barbara, massive health food store in Santa Barbara. There's like a non-drowsy, what's that? Not dopamine. Like
Dramamine.
Dramamine. Yeah. I was gonna say dopamine.
Yeah, so it's probably like ginger pills.
Basically.
Yeah.
And they work pretty well.
Yeah, no, it really does work.
Yeah.
I've tried that before. I randomly got vertigo. Like once. I just got a spell of vertigo. It was like a trippy, weird thing. And I bought non-drowsy Dramamine.
Yeah.
And it was just ginger pills. So
it worked.
And it works. Yeah.
That's what's crazy.
Yes.
I live by those things. Before I go on tour, there's like a few things I like buy before I go on tour, and it's like bagels, because bagels will last forever. Well, at least a week. Like, and then the Dramamine pills. I don't know.
Wow, that's good to know. It's actually nice to have your tour tips because I haven't toured before.
Oh.
So, and this isn't really a tour. We're just playing a couple shows, but in my mind, I'm saying it's a tour because this is like a life goal thing for me, and I'm sure like a tour will be soon on the horizon. Yeah.
I think so. I think touring can be scary. It can be nerve-wracking. Yeah. It's a lot of work, but it's also like the most fun you can like ever have.
Yeah.
And the way I've been putting it, and like the way I've talked to the musicians on this podcast, is that like the shows aren't the fun part. It's the in-between. And
it's just an adventure.
Yeah.
That's what
I never think about the shows. When I think back on tour, I think about, remember that weird diner in the middle of nowhere? That's the stuff that like, I'm like, that's what I like about touring.
Yeah.
It's not the shows. You always play shows.
That's what I'm excited for, is the sort of just like spontaneous
adventure.
Living in the moment adventure. Yeah. I feel like it demands presence, and that's what I want. And also like, I've always loved like 70s music and had this dream of like, you know, being a 70s rock star on the road, like Almost Famous or something.
Totally.
But like, I want to be the rock star, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I'd love to make that a reality in what capacity we can, you know?
I thought about this. I've always thought about that too, because, you know, you love those songs like the Eagles, Take It Easy, and they're talking about being on tour, and all their songs were just about being on tour because that's all they did was tour. And I can't remember, who did I talk to? Oh, I talked to an older musician. I was like, yo, what'd you guys do when you were in the car? And they're like, nothing. Sit in silence. If the radio worked, if there was a radio, I was like, oh shit. And we're so spoiled now with your phone.
Totally.
If you have like Verizon or like someone, like, you can get pretty decent coverage anywhere. I went on tour T-Mobile once, not the case. Very patchy throughout the whole United States, and your phone just doesn't work for a while. But on Verizon, it works pretty much everywhere, and you're babied with entertainment on the road.
I very much enjoy not using my phone though.
Oh,
it makes me feel free, and I feel like it's so easy to get addicted to the phone, and to not have access to it, I feel like it's just like a breath of fresh air, you know?
Right.
Even though it's like such a privilege to have a phone and have access to all the information and the maps and everything. It's just like, it's so nice to just like be living in the moment. Yes.
Totally. There's what was I going to say about there was a moment in my life where my phone battery was awful because the phone was really old and it would die every day. Every day my phone would die. And those are some of the best times. When I would like get on the bus, I leave Metropolis, get on the bus, and my phone's dead. And I just sit there with my iPod.
Yeah, sometimes
and
when
then people
my
are like,
phone
you still have
dies,
an iPod? Yes. For those moments.
Heck yeah. Sometimes when my phone dies, I'm just like,
finally.
thank God.
Finally.
Yeah, finally.
Let me disconnect for a fucking second. Yeah. I think about that all the time. But you need it. I don't know. Like, what's your relationship with like social media and like having to self-promote your band?
I don't know. I sometimes find like, I think Instagram is like the primary platform that I use. Like, I don't have Twitter. I briefly downloaded TikTok and I uploaded a few like clips of my music, like music videos and stuff. But I kind of just like, I don't know. I wasn't like that interested in it. I feel like it would take so much investment of like time and energy to like make a well-edited video on there. So I kind of just like let that flow. I actually don't know where it's at because I deleted the app off my phone because I didn't have enough space. But yeah, Instagram's like my primary platform where I share my work. And I feel like it can be like polarizing. Like sometimes I feel really inspired by what I'm seeing. And like there's so many amazing tools that are shared on there. Like I actually feel like it's been a really cool platform for like mental health, for like sharing tools for mental health, and just really amazing to see people's art and music, and that's what inspires me. But then I also feel like it can be kind of toxic. I think it's all how you approach it, and when it's kind of like the continuous scroll, that's when it just drains your energy and your time. Like, honestly, I feel like if we were to keep a log of how much time we're spending on that, like it would be truly depressing, you know?
Oh, yeah.
I know there is a log and I try not to look at that. Yeah, because I'm just like,
it's very much there, and all your activity and all your interests and your behaviors are being recorded.
Totally. Yeah. Well, I think it's like, it's important to like absorb some inspiration, and also, you know, it's a really good platform to share your work. Or is it? I don't know. It seems like it is. I'm not sure how much like.
You mean in sense of you sharing your work or people sharing your work? Like, I love this song. Here, listen to this song.
Well, that too, but I was thinking of like,
more
me personally sharing my work, like you personally sharing your work. I think it's a good platform for that. I'm not sure how much like energy people give towards like seeing a clip of like someone's music, you know, but I mean, that's where like a lot of people who I don't know have heard about my music, and so I'm thankful for that. But it's just like you think about all the time that you could have spent like creating your own art. Yeah. If you're just like in that scroll zone. Right.
The doom scroll.
Yeah, exactly. So totally. I think it's just like if you're able to use it in moderation, then that's great.
What I've learned working in social, because that's what I do social media marketing.
Oh, you do? Okay.
There's something like, it's like working in a restaurant, right? When you see literally how the sausage is made, it's not like appetizing anymore. And that's how social media is for me. Because like when I see it and I'm not emotionally connected, it's not my project, it's a client's account. I'm like, this is nothing. This is just me posting a picture and never looking at the app again. So I tried to bring that into my world. I post and then I turn off the app.
Yeah,
and then I get off.
That's kind of the best way to use it. And then it's like occasionally like I have some trusted sources of inspiration of like friends that I'm like, wow, everything they posted, like it really challenges me and pushes me further in my own art. Right. But then it's like when you're just kind of like scrolling on the general feed, it's like such a mix of things, you know? Yeah,
totally. TikTok is the one I advise everyone to get on, even more so than Instagram, because of the ability to be found. Its algorithm is so powerful, and the way that it spreads out content can be so crazy. One song, you could post one clip of yourself, and boom, it has like 100,000 views. And you're like, what the hell happened? And it kind of feeds off this feeling of people want attention. It's like feeding on that. And that's why it's become so popular, because everyone could go viral at any second. And that's what it likes. And so as an artist, if you could just post on there and let something go viral, which is never a guarantee, but like you could post something and you can help your career, and you don't have to pay. It's great.
Yeah,
like it's free.
I've heard that about it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
so
a crazy
you've had
place.
some like
I've had
success
one
on there?
video do well.
Nice.
And I'm like, what did I do? I'm like looking like, what did I do on this one that I haven't done the other ones? But it's just random.
What was the video?
It was just a video of us playing in Jam in the Van. But I was wearing this comedian's shirt, Tom Segura, and his fans found it.
Oh,
and then they started commenting and sharing it with like the comedians and stuff like that. And I've met a few comedians that way. But like, it's pretty weird. Yeah.
That's interesting.
So
That's
weird.
such an interesting like crossover connection.
I thought, I was like, oh, I'll wear this shirt and it'll go on YouTube and like maybe some fans will see it. But then I did that. I was like, wow, I didn't know. I just was wearing that shirt that day,
Yeah.
I had a feeling. I thought, because, for a couple people who like comedy and music, for those worlds to like intersect, which is like a big goal of mine, is to intersect that
comedy
world.
And music.
Yeah.
Cool. I love that. I didn't know that was a goal of yours, and that's really, it's cool to hear people's personal goals with their music. It's all so specific. Yeah.
At least in the podcast like realm, like they're so involved, and everyone has a podcast and everyone goes on each other's podcasts and promotes dates and they can help sell each other's dates, their fans. If you're funny on a podcast, who cares? Who knows? Music, we don't have that. There is no like way to uplift each other, because it's so fucking competitive, because there's so few jobs out there that nobody helps each other out. And I think it's the worst thing ever.
Yeah, that's actually something I try to actively combat within my own life. Like, I feel like when I feel that impulse to like be like holding on to like my resources and my connections, that's when I'm like, okay, I'm gonna give this away,
right?
Because I don't want to have that energy, and I honestly feel like it works against you in the end. It's like a very narrow way to live, and kind of cuts you off towards like a reciprocal flow of energy, because when you collaborate and give to others, like it flows back to you. Not that that's like the intention, but it also feels good to uplift other people. I think that's actually something I've found that's a very important value to me in my career, because like I'm human like everyone else, and I feel like jealousy of other people, and I feel scarcity, like fear that like this could be taken from me, or this person could do this thing and like do it better than me. But it's like, I think those are the times to be like, okay, well then I'm gonna give them this.
Yeah.
Because if they can do it better than me, they should. But that's like totally an illusion, because it's not even a competition in any way.
Right.
Everyone is so completely different and unique in their art. Totally. And that's the way I try and look at it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's very important to spread the love. Like, an example, like, even when, like, that place in Ventura hit me up, and they're like, would your band be able to play? I was like, I don't know if my band could play, but, like, I'll send it over. And I sent it over to you. And I even talked about this on the podcast. I didn't say your name because I don't know, but, like, you're like, I sent it to you, and you're like, thanks. And then, like, a day later, you're like, actually, can you send me his information? I was like, okay, good. I like that initiative of, like, you can't wait around for bookers just to reach out to you.
Totally.
And, I love that you did that. I was like, oh, good. Yeah, I'll hand you. Here's his information.
Thanks.
Like,
I appreciate that acknowledgement. And I really appreciated you reaching out to me about that. And I also feel like it's important to build community, because I think as an artist, like, it's so easy to feel like so disconnected and lost. And it's just like you against the world, because it's like a tough profession. But if we build a community together, it's like we can all support each other.
Totally.
You know?
And especially building that bridge between Ventura and Santa Barbara, because we don't play, like, I don't play a lot in Ventura, and like Ventura bands don't really come over here, like, but we're so close. We should be like trading shows, and like those are completely different worlds. People from Ventura don't drive. Well, maybe they'll drive to Santa Barbara for a show, but I rarely drive to Ventura for a show. Like,
yeah, totally.
So there's like two different audiences.
Too much what's going on in Ventura, but I heard that place, the tavern, is really cool. So
they do the shows outside, which is good.
Yeah, nice.
So you can play outside, and you know,
cool. Yeah, I'd love to play there. Yeah.
I know. I don't know what's going on there. Like, I DJ'd twice, and then they Well, I shouldn't put their dirty shit out there. But they had some issues with like the city, so they're not doing live events right now. So they paused it. Okay, but yeah, so I'm waiting to hear back too. So that's what I know. It's just tough, you know. Shows are sparking up and then they're shutting down. And Ventura is a whole different county, so they do completely different things than we do. Like they don't have a mask mandate right now, where we do.
Okay, yeah.
So when I DJ'd there last Friday, I was like, how come no one's wearing a mask? And then like I asked the bartenders, I was like, what's up with the masks? And they're like, we don't have one yet here. Just in Santa Barbara and, you know, LA. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah,
oh no.
I didn't know that.
I kept my mind. I just kept mine on all night.
Yeah.
I was like, it's all I can do. But you could feel it. I feel like I can see people getting scared. Like I don't see downtown as alive as it was.
Even if Santa Barbara.
Or anywhere. I don't really see a lot of people like out right now.
Yeah.
Like it was like maybe a few months ago when everyone felt like, oh, vaccine. Okay, we can do this, you know.
Yeah. Totally.
I don't know. What do you feel? What's your take on the city right now, the state of Santa Barbara? I feel like I've talked about this a lot on the podcast, and like coming out of the pandemic, like people kept asking me like about shows in Santa Barbara, and I was like, I don't know who's left. And I'm slowly realizing that it's like not about who's left, it's like who's new. And I would consider you new.
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah, because I kind of just emerged with like having a band and stuff. Because I've lived in Santa Barbara for a while. I went to school here, and then I left for a couple years, and then I just came back. And so like I just formed this band in the past like 4 months. So definitely like new on the scene in terms of that. And I've played a lot of like solo kind of singer-songwriter things. So yeah, like new on the scene in terms of having a band, and that's so fun for me because I haven't like I had one band before in LA, but yeah, it's really amazing to like have the energy of a band behind you. But yeah, it's like very confusing territory right now. Like I was just saying that like before we even started this podcast, it's like when you book a show now, it's like you really don't know if it's even gonna pan out. So everything's very like it feels on the rocks all the time, and I feel like I just keep telling myself to surrender, you know, because I get really locked into plans and preparing, and I'm trying to let go as much as possible. And I think that's important in music in general. Like even prior to this, it's like, I don't know, just like things can fall through at any moment. Like even having a band, you know, it's like assembling so many people and dealing with all their schedules and everything. It's like, you never know. Someone could be like, ooh, I messed up. Like I can't make this gig. And it's like, you just can't get too attached to anything, you know?
Right.
So.
And what's your like process when you hear that someone can't play a show? And it's like, shit, I need to find someone to fill in, or
yeah, I think
where are you at with that?
That hasn't really happened to me yet, but there have been like some moments where it was like not sure and things shifting. And like I think my immediate reaction was like a lot of anxiety, you know?
Yeah,
because
it gets
I'm
crazy.
just like, oh no, what am I gonna do?
Yeah.
But I'm actually like glad that these moments have happened because I've like had to develop a coping mechanism for that, and to understand, you know, like, okay, well, we'll make it work, you know, like this is just how it's always been done in music. You got to go with the flow. Like someone can't make it, you find someone new to fill in, and like you kind of just have to fully surrender. So it definitely feels a little bit scary. Yeah.
You have to keep rolling. It's like, oh man, it's
the show must go on.
The show must go on. Like example, like we had these gigs in Chicago for Lollapalooza, and you know Zach couldn't do it, and I was like, okay, I gotta find a keyboard player now. But like in the past, when I was younger, I wouldn't have done that. Maybe I would have considered canceling. Maybe not for Lollapalooza. I would have found a way anyways. But like if it was just another show, maybe I would have just been like, all right, guys, we can't do it, because that's how it was in the early days. If one of our bandmates couldn't do it, we were all super tight. And Dante Elephante was more of a like a band.
Yeah.
It wasn't me and the guys.
Totally.
And I think you just have to keep pushing. That's the kind of stuff that like drives me nuts.
I think that's actually a major difference. Is like for me, I've always viewed my projects less as like a band and more so that like I'm a singer-songwriter who's bringing in like musicians to support me, because I generally just like write my music by myself, and then I'll bring people in and like they'll like bring in their own parts and stuff, but like most of the content like I created, and then I'm bringing other people in. So it feels like it could be constantly shifting and amorphous and having different players.
Right.
And I actually feel like that concept makes me feel a lot more at ease.
Yeah.
Because it's less to hold on to, you know?
It's a little bit more flexible.
Yeah.
And you can like move it around. Okay, well maybe what if we just did one guitar and it's like, okay,
totally.
keys, and like, yeah, you can make it work.
Because I know I can rely on myself. Like I can always play a gig by myself if someone asks me. So, and it's cool to be able to do both because like I can play sort of like soothing, like lullaby type singer-songwriter stuff, and then I can like bring out my band and it like almost gets a little bit of like a punk energy and can be really rowdy. And I'd like to be able to like, I can take any gig because I can just read the energy of what is needed.
Right.
And actually it's just so funny that you said that about like in the past you might have canceled the gig because I actually did have this moment where I was afraid that one of my players wouldn't be able to make it. And I was like, oh, maybe I should just cancel this, but I really want to do it. And then it was so funny because I went on my Instagram and there was like a video or a photo you posted. And I can't remember what it was, but I was like, Ruben would never cancel. And I was like, it gave me the strength. And I was like, Ruben would never cancel. Like, I got to be like Ruben.
Oh my God.
And then I was like, yeah, like if anyone can't make it, I'll just find somebody else. And like, we're going to push through. And so like your presence gave me that strength. I just want you to know that.
That shit has bit me in the ass many times where you feel like, I don't know if I should play this show. And then I push through it. I play it by myself. I was like, this was the worst show ever. Yeah. Oh my God. Why did I do this show?
But maybe you feel it was the worst show ever, but you never know how like it could have affected someone in the audience or
totally.
Whatever.
You never know. Yeah.
Like the other night I performed and then I was like, oh my God, I feel like I did so bad because like it was one of those gigs where like I actually genuinely like forgot parts of my songs and would like stop and be like and then like you know, and I just like I was like, man, I kind of messed up. But then afterwards my friend was like, that's like the best performance I've ever seen of you, like your voice just sounded so open. And I was like, wow, it just like goes to show you really can't criticize yourself.
Oh yeah, you're always your own worst critic. Like that, I think that's just the artist way.
Totally. And sometimes seeing people make mistakes is more inspiring than seeing them do it perfectly. In my opinion, like, I think just to see, like, the true humanity behind it and see how they recover with grace or maybe even not, it's, like, more inspiring to me.
Totally. Yeah, I think a lot of these lessons and a lot of stuff I talk about on the podcast, like, has come with age. Mm-hmm. Like, when we first started, I did things very opposite. It was all about like, what's the next move? Like, can we get signed? Can we do this? Can we do that? And like, and people told me this in the past too, like you need to like let go, dude. You need to like relax and things will open up for you. And I didn't believe him. I was like, no, I need to go hard. I need to like be super intense about this and being very intentional of what we do. And like, you know, I think that's why there was so little content of me on the internet because we were so like, we don't want to post anything that will look bad forever, even though we did. Like, I don't know why. So it's all about being less precious about the shit and realizing that something you post today will not be seen by everyone who follows you. And it's just, you could post it tomorrow too. Who cares? Everyone, it's like, there's no rules to any of this stuff.
And it's like, I feel like wanting your art to be authentic and a reflection of like your multifaceted humanity is like, you have to let go. And like you said, not be too precious with it because I think when something's too perfected, like it doesn't feel as like touching or accessible to me. But I also understand the other side of things. Like, I think I am a perfectionist inside, and that's why I feel so committed to going against that. Because I feel like that's such a block to my authenticity and my creativity, and also just, like, my well-being. Because I don't want to constantly be like, this isn't good enough or whatever. You know, it's just, like, that's a hard way to live.
I think we all know like friends in the past or musicians who are like that, like, oh, I really want to get into music. I really got to start playing music again. Instead of just being like, I'm just going to do it. Like the people who talked about it all the time. I had so many friends who just talked about it all the time instead of actually doing it.
Or like that friend who's been like working on their album for like 10 years or something. Like, and you're like, oh, when are you going to put out that album? And they're like, oh, it's just not ready yet. And it's like, okay, I just don't know when it's going to be. Like, Gotta go for it.
And that's the kind of stuff that makes me so frustrated. But also at the same time, it's not my project and I need to let go.
Totally.
I'm realizing that now. I produced 2 bands in the last couple months, and like same thing. I have my suggestions on where I think they should go with their music, but at the end of the day, it's not my project, and I need to let go.
Totally.
And that's what's crazy.
Can I ask what bands you're
this band called the Yorks in LA.
Oh, cool.
And then Plastic Harpoons.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah.
We did 4 songs. I think they're gonna do a full album, but so far we've done 4 songs.
Very cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sweet.
So it's cool. It's like a new experience. I haven't really produced anyone before. No one's ever really asked me. So it's like I haven't like thought about it, but just no one's ever asked me. But now people are asking me for stuff like that. And it's fun.
Awesome.
It's cool. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's like you kind of realize when you're in a studio with someone who hasn't recorded a lot, like, oh, I really have learned a lot over these last 10 years. Like, oh, you don't realize it. You just think like, oh, I don't really know anything. And then you get into the studio and you're like, actually, I do know like some stuff. Like I do know how to like arrange a good song. Like I can do that shit.
I mean, you produce your own music, right?
Basically.
Yeah.
I usually when the songs are done, we demo them, and then I'm like, oh, so we gotta get somebody else to like take us over that hump. And I think that's when you bring a producer in, when you just need that like next push.
Right.
know?
Yeah, and it's cool to have like a collaborative energy with someone that you respect and trust.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're kind of stuck in your own echo chamber, you know?
Yeah, and with your own ideas, it's like, you know, if you're at that point of like, okay, we've been doing this band I've been writing even not even a band, but like I've been writing these songs for a while, and I think they're pretty good, but I can hear them in my head, but I don't know how to like actually make that sound happen. That's when you bring someone in.
Totally.
Yeah. But if you know what you want, do it yourself.
I've learned a lot through like working with like co-producers who really knew what they were doing, because for me, like I had a very specific vision, but I didn't necessarily know how to achieve that because I hadn't really done that before. So it was really awesome to like have someone that I trusted who also had like similar references and influences to me, because I would just like describe what I wanted. Yeah. And he was able to like help me achieve that. And it was honestly like so close to like what I would envision. Like it was pretty amazing. Yeah. Yeah.
So let's talk about your record. You put an album. It's a full album. You would consider it.
It's a full album.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long have you been writing it? Where did you record it? Like, let's just start from the beginning.
Yeah.
How long were you writing this thing?
Well, I think I started writing it right after I released my first EP, Weird Flower, and that was in 2019. I remember I wrote the first song, Animals, like in 2019, just after that release. And it was kind of one of those things where I was writing as I went. Like I didn't write the full body of work and perfect it and then bring it in to someone. Like I hit up my friend Max Collier and we went to UCSB together. So we already knew each other. Yeah, he's really awesome, like such an amazing musician. And he really wanted to start recording and producing some people. He was wanted to try that out. So I was like, I'd love to try collaborating with you. So we recorded a song together, and it was a song that he wrote. It's actually on my album, which I feel like is really a testament to like how much I do like respect and appreciate his work, because for me, I felt like it was a value. Like I never want to have a song that I didn't write the lyrics to on my album. But I've really let go of that, you know, because that song that he wrote really spoke to me, and I felt like it was my own words. And we did that as an experiment, and it just like, I just loved the song so much. So I ended up including that in the end. But anyways, like, yeah, we started working together right after that. I was like, I want to like continue to record like a body of work, like potentially an album. Yeah. And he was like, yeah, I'm down. So as I'd go, I'd like write a song in Santa Barbara. He lived in LA. And then I would be like, I wrote a new song, and I'd bring it into the studio. Cool. And yeah, we'd start laying it down. And it was I think it's like very raw because of that, because we didn't try and perfect things too much. Like we never did too many takes of any instrument or voice. And yeah, maybe there's some like element of, I don't know if I would say like, yeah, I would just say like rawness because of that. yeah, it was really inspiring to do it that way. In my opinion,
and you got a chance to focus on one song at a time.
Yeah, that's what
not
we did.
like you know we have to do these 6 songs or we have to do these 10 songs in this like week.
Exactly, it was a song at a time, and we were recording at his apartment. He had like set up his own little studio space, and I felt like so much freedom because of that. We didn't have to like pay by the hour. There was really no pressure, not the feeling of like, oh, I'm in this like fancy studio where all these famous people go, oh, what do I do? Right. It was just like so low key, so I felt like I could really be myself and try out all my ideas, which included so many things like screaming and like using that harmonica mic to like sing into and doing like sort of a spoken word like under my singing, like adding strings on, like all these like ideas that I don't know if I would have had the guts to do like without somebody as like supportive and like on the same like experimental like goofy wavelength as I was. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. I think that's like those are always the best recordings. The being comfortable, having fun shines through on the recording.
Yes, I really do feel that.
And that's why they feel good. That's why there's a vibe. It's not so much that the takes were perfect, because they're not always perfect. Like there's always something. Like this last record I did was very much the first time I'd ever done that, where everything was to a grid and everything had to be perfect, because it was like very much like that was the idea. This is like a record we want DJs to play, and it needs to be like perfect, so they can mix with it and stuff like that. And so that was like the first time, because I'd always worked like that. Let's just get a vibe. Let's just feel good. And it's pretty crazy. Well, different recording techniques.
I did it the other way around, because my first EP, we really worked on perfecting and polishing it and recording to the grid and like really like locking in the drums and everything. And it was really cool. Like I love the way it came out, but I think I just like contrasting those two experiences, like I really do prefer to just like let it flow and feel a little more like live. Like it's obviously not live, there's like so many layers, it's very cinematic, but just letting it be more free and to capture the vibe, you know?
Yes,
I think that's my preferred approach, because I feel like that makes me feel more relaxed and at ease, and it can just be heard in my voice.
I think the next step could potentially be for you is like actually live. Would be crazy. Like actually, just at least just drums, bass, and guitar, you know?
Totally.
Just to get that live and get that locked in.
No, I think that's pretty much like the next thing I want to do.
Yeah. 'Cause that'd be fun.
Yeah, because I'm really inspired by like live energy. Like I think seeing someone live is a totally different experience than hearing their recorded music. Like no matter how amazing it is, it's like, it's a totally different experience, and I would like to capture that. Yeah.
Cool. How long after? Because I feel like this is another wall we need to break down. Like, how long after it was recorded did it come out? Because I feel like everyone has this idea: I'm going to record it and then we're going to put it out right away. Yeah. But that's never the fucking case. It's always like a year later. But like, it's not always, but sometimes it's like a year later until it comes out. What was that process like? Getting it mixed, getting it mastered?
I'm so bad with time, actually, so it's really difficult for me when people ask me these questions, but I mean, I know that like after getting it mastered, I was kind of sitting on it for like almost a year. Yeah, like I think I kept being like, oh, I'm gonna put it out in a couple months, but then it would just
this is in the pandemic.
Because I was done recording before the pandemic hit, which was very convenient, because then I didn't have to travel. Right. And then everything else was done remotely. Right. Like I did the mixing was before the pandemic hit too, because I was there for like some of the mixing. I really wanted to like be present, be part of the experience. And then the rest happened remotely. Like half of the mixing happened.
Mixers hate that shit.
Yeah. Honestly,
they don't like it.
I didn't know that, but I wouldn't do that again.
Really?
Yeah, I wouldn't do that again. I just felt like so invasive. Like I was like, oh, like what you doing there? I know. Okay, I really need to be alone right now. I wouldn't do that again.
Everyone wants to be in the room with them, and I always say the same thing. They hate it. They really do.
I didn't actually know that. So like a lot of things I'm doing, it's like trial and error.
It goes by faster.
Yeah.
It goes by faster.
I should have just let him do it, but I really was just like, I want to be there. Like, this is like my baby, and I want to be like hands-on, like through the whole experience. But yeah, it wasn't necessary, but it was cool to like see what he was doing and have some input, but it wasn't necessary in retrospect. And then like the mastering was obviously done remotely because I think the guy who mastered my album, he's like based in Oregon.
Oh,
I'm pretty
cool.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, he's really awesome though, and so efficient, and just like immediately the masters were good. Yeah, I was like, great. Yeah.
That's what's nice about like when someone's really talented and you're like, oh, it's kind of a lot of money, but it's worth it because it's like, here's the first mix. You're like, wow, that's it.
Yeah.
I don't need more. Good.
Yeah,
okay.
totally.
We actually save time. If you pay more money, you save time.
Yeah.
Like,
I would like totally continue to have him master my albums because it was just so easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. His name's Timothy Stallenwerk. I think that's how you say his last name. I feel like I should drop his name since I just hyped him so much. Yeah. Amazing. Yeah. So anyways, that was done remotely, obviously. And then I was kind of like, just doing it step by step. Like, I really didn't know how to do any of these things. Like, I was like, how do you shoot an album cover? How do you format it correctly? Like, and then how do you design a vinyl? Like, how do you get vinyl pressed? Yeah. It was all just like, I was like reaching out to people. I was like, how do you do this? And now I know how to do it. So I'm actually so happy I know how, because I feel like I'd love to like guide anyone who's lost on that subject. As I was just like, I was like fully, I didn't know how to do any of this.
I think it's the best way to go about it is, like I said, to understand how the sausage is made.
Yeah.
And like
that's
you
such
really
a visceral analogy.
It's just so true. And your little record is a sausage. Yeah. Everyone's little records are little sausages. And it's like nice to like know, oh, that's how much it costs per record. Okay, then I charge this much. And it's like you're getting into the whole business and marketing world of it. But like it's amazing to have that control versus like a label just telling you this is how much it costs, and you're like, I guess that's how much it costs.
Yeah, and I'm really happy that I did it this way, like truly being an independent artist, because I want to know how everything works so that in the future, if I were to have the support of like a label or I don't know, a manager, an agent or whatever, like I would know what it is that they're doing. So I think it's important to understand the inner workings so you can't really be like manipulated, not to sound jaded, but
it can happen. And like, especially with like agents, once you have a booking agent and they start sending you stuff and you're like, what are all these acronyms mean? Because it's just like, these like random acronyms that only make sense in their booking world. Like, what's the one that I had to Google GBOR the other day. I was like, what does that mean? But it's like gross box office revenue or something. I was like, oh, okay, I get it. It's all making sense. But then you're just seeing like Gabor is like 18% Gabor or like 85% Gabor. I was like, what is that?
Who's this Gabor guy?
I was like, this is like some like weird booking agent shit that I don't know anything about. Like, I need to ask them about it. But like I had that same thing too. Like, I book bands in I still do that sometimes. Like, if a band that I really like is coming through Santa Barbara, like I'll reach out to their agent and be like, hey, can I put on this show? And I'll just front the money for the guarantee, and we try to make some money off it, right? It'd be fun, but at least the important part for me is getting like, we did it with Twin Peaks, like from Chicago. I got them to Santa Barbara, and that's how I met them, and that's how I'm like friends with them. But like, I did that, and it was crazy. It was fun. We didn't sell enough tickets. I lost a lot of money, but like, I love that band.
It's all like a gamble, It's
all a gamble. But I know what it's like to be on the promoter side. I know what it's like to be on the venue side, as the artist side, as the agent side. I know what it's like to work, so I get it.
Yeah, totally. I think that's so valuable.
Totally.
Yeah.
It gives you a little bit more empathy for people, because if you don't know what an agent does, you're like, why am I giving this dude 10%? And then you realize how many hours they put in and negotiating for you, and like how many venues they reach. It's not just like people. You can't just email one venue and they're gonna get back to you. It's like you have to email multiple venues.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's something I realized, like trying to plan like a mini tour, a DIY tour. I was like, whoa, this is a lot of work, and like, it's really hard to get like specific dates and specific places and then to like route everything correctly so you're not like zigzagging.
Other places have holds. Like, you're the 5th hold, so the other 5 need to drop out before you get this show. And you're like, what does that mean? It's like, you're pretty far away from getting that show.
Right. Yeah. I know, it's a confusing thing. So I would totally be interested in like having a tour manager in the future.
Yeah. I feel like that's what anyone needs now.
Yeah.
Like, book me shows. I'll go do the work. I can make the merch. I can sell the merch. Like, if you're trying to go the complete DIY route, I think having a booking agent, and maybe they say someone in PR, but I don't know how much PR. I shouldn't say that because I have PR agents who listen to this show, who pitch me bands to come on this show. But like, and I need to have them on the show because I want to know, what are they doing now? Now that Pitchfork isn't as strong as it used to be, and the blog isn't what it used to be. Like, what is PR now?
I've been thinking the same thing because I'm just not sure. Like, it's cool to get reviews and whatever, but it's like, does anyone even care?
No.
Like, I don't know. I don't necessarily. I'm not like, oh, this band, like, they got this right up on this thing. Like, I'm just caring about their music. So
that's why the industry has shifted to Spotify, and now Spotify has way too much power, and they like make and break bands, and it's annoying as hell.
It's crazy how the territory is always so quickly and constantly shifting. It's like, that's why I was saying earlier, like, you just gotta surrender because it's like, it's too overwhelming.
It is.
Yeah.
And who knows? And now Spotify's sweating because TikTok is making and breaking bands.
Dang,
and
what the heck?
I know. It's crazy. It's a crazy world, but you have to just kind of like keep pushing. Yeah. That's all you can do is just keep creating art and trying to create content, and that, and just also I feel like that's such an overwhelming subject, and I just try to shift the focus because like I think about what my values are, and it's like, obviously I'd love for my music to be heard, and that is important to me, but like I try and focus on creating art and playing live shows because I feel like that's how you really like reach people. And I want like people to feel understood and heard, and like I feel like my music can be like healing on some level just for people to feel understood, and I feel like that's best accessed through like live performance and like connecting with people in real life. But yeah, social media is a great tool though, because it's just so crazy. Like, I would like post some of my lyrics, and then I guess I had this like follower on Instagram who's from like Italy, and they mostly spoke Italian, so they would like sometimes DM me and ask me to like translate lyrics, and that was just like so cool to me. Like, I mean, in the past that would have happened. Do you know how they found you?
I don't know.
Spotify.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe Spotify or
maybe,
just like Explore feed on like Instagram.
Right. I never use the Explore feed, so that's why I'm like, I know lots of people who use it, but I never click on that thing. I don't know why. Yeah. Interesting. I'm always so curious, like, because we had fans like that back in the day, like in it's not Thailand. What's the other really big surfing southeastern
Sri
Asia?
Lanka,
maybe in one of those places. There's like a little hub that like loved Dante. And I'm like, how? But people find it. People find it on YouTube. They find it's like so many different places you can find stuff if you look for it. If you want to look for it. Yeah.
Definitely. Wow. It's really interesting to see like where your listeners are on Spotify, and also sometimes
that helps you book a tour too.
Oh, interesting.
Because you're like, 500 people are listening in LA. Okay, maybe we could play like a 100 cap room or something. Maybe we could play that. Where else? San Diego. Okay, and then you can kind of route something based on like, Chicago's a good town for us. Maybe we could play Chicago and like, make it work.
That's good insight to have.
Yeah.
Do you also sometimes get messages about like where your music has been Shazammed?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I get that sometimes, and it like is really crazy to me.
That's weird.
Like my music got Shazammed in like Russia, and I was like, what the heck? That's insane. Like,
that's amazing.
I don't know. That just blows my mind because I'm like, who's listening to my music in Russia? How would they hear about me? I don't understand how people hear about me like outside of like Santa Barbara, LA, and like San Francisco, because that's where my friends are. Right. Yeah. So it just always blows my mind. I'm like, wait, Cambodia?
Yeah.
Russia? Italy?
What's gonna happen?
Yeah, that's one cool thing about social media.
That's probably the best part. Is people being able to reach out to you, and like I had a guy email me, which I haven't responded to. I will respond at some point this week. I hope I have time. But he hit me up for the chords. He's like, "Hey man, I'm trying to learn all the songs right now. Can I play I just want to play the chords, and I can't figure them out." I'm like, that's that nerdy. Not yet. That's what I was saying.
Like, I can't release the recipe.
No. I was like, the chords are for everyone, but like, like I'm definitely down. At least for this album, is pretty funny because I like wrote it all in piano and I don't know how to play piano, so I would stumble on chords a lot.
Cool.
So I would like have my guitar next to me and be like, oh, what is that? Oh, okay, that's that chord. But like, so I would stumble on shit a lot. So that's why I like when people get excited about the chords, because I get excited about the chords. It took me a long time to write this record. Yeah,
that really inspires me when people are like, I don't really know how to play this instrument, but, and then they start playing it. I'm like, what the hell? Yeah, that was like my friend and I, we played like a little show last night, my friend May Powell, and she was like, I don't really know how to play piano, but I wrote the song. And I was like, I filmed the whole song. It was like the best thing ever. And I was like, I'm going to listen to that like every day. I was like, she was shredding.
That's amazing. So yeah, you said last night you played at Yoga Soup.
Yeah, it was just like a cute little thing. Like,
have you been there before?
Yeah, I go there all the time. I love that place. Yeah, it's an awesome yoga studio.
Is it still by the roasting company?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So basically, the owner of the studio, Eddie Elner, he taught a little class, and then afterwards we did a little candlelit serenade. Ooh. So I played. Zach Wallace was playing electric guitar, some kind of like whale sounds, like very ambient. Right. And then after that, May Powell played, supported by Garrett Barley, and he was playing, he played guitar, and he also played lap steel. It was very ethereal.
How do you know everyone's names?
Yeah, actually.
I feel like that. And then they had that one dude on the lap
As
steel.
I said his name, I was like, please let that be his last name. I think that's his last name. Oh, God, I hope
I'm
it is.
so bad with that kind of stuff. I'm
edit the podcast. And if I said the last name wrong, just like go over it with your voice and say the last name. But no, I know his name because we like me and May and Garrett, we like hung out all day. They stayed at my house. So yeah, sweet. They're really cool. It was the first time I like met him, so yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. That's always the nice part of like going on tours, when people let you sleep at their house, or like and then you could pay the favor back when they come into town, and you can like let them spend the night somewhere.
And it's so fun to just like connect with people and adventure with them, and, and show them your
and if they've never been to Santa Barbara before, that like it puts like a new energy on Santa Barbara. You're like, 'cause sometimes this town, if you're here too long, you're just like, okay, it feels like a trap.
It's a small town, and it's, I don't know if you feel this way, but sometimes I do kind of wish there was more of like an invigorating art scene here. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's been the complaint like since I was a kid.
Yeah.
Because like
did you grow up here?
Yeah, I'm born and raised in Santa Barbara.
Oh, cool.
So like growing up in the 90s, it was always like such a big scene, and there's venues everywhere, and like bands were getting like signed to major labels out of Santa Barbara, and it was like there was like a weird like little magnet like here for like a split second in the early 90s, because that's when, they're not great bands, and they're fine bands, they're not my taste, but like Dishwalla, Toad the Wet Sprocket, these bands that got big on MTV, and then for some reason in the 2000s it just all went away, and that's when I got into it. I started playing in bands when I was 14, 2004, so it was done by then. And people were just complaining, like, oh, the scene's dead. And now the scene's been dead for like 20 years. And it's like, it is what it is now.
I mean, I know a lot of great musicians here, and it's so fun to like.
That's why I always say it's not the talent, it's the access. And
that's what it is. Okay, I'm glad you say that, because I've been trying to figure out what the missing piece is, because like I know so many talented people here, but I feel like it's just not like gelling, like we're not coming together.
Yeah.
And I sometimes am wondering if it's because it's not like this, like a dense city where it's kind of like a little bit of grit, and that pushes you to create,
Yeah, I think
it's such a relaxing place.
It's too relaxing.
Is it too relaxing?
It's too relaxing. I think it is too relaxing for art, and that's why the art can be kind of boring sometimes here.
Yeah, maybe
because everyone's just having fun.
Yeah,
but like it's fucking hard to live here, so I don't know why everyone's so happy and chill. It's like ocean. So hard to live here.
It's maybe it's like just the beautiful nature and being close to the ocean. But and it's hard to make it work.
It's hard to make it work, and so I don't know. We have SOhO, which is a big venue.
I love
like
SOhO.
Your everyday band is not going to be able to fill that place up.
Yeah.
There needs to be just like a step below 100 cap room.
Yes.
150.
Yes. Yeah.
So like when out of town bands that do well in LA, but Santa Barbara's a fucking hard market. Like you could fill that place up, and it will feel full with like 40 people.
Totally.
We need that in between.
Right.
Because right now you either play a bar or SOhO, and there's no in between. And it's hard. It's fucking hard.
Yeah, SOhO is definitely the spot to play at.
Yeah, I haven't even been to the new venues that opened. Music Alley. Haven't even been. I emailed them.
I haven't been there. Yeah.
I emailed them and no one got back to me.
Yeah, I did too, honestly. Yeah.
I was like,
yeah, because I was
I'm
like,
down to give a new place a shot.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out like where to play here because I wanted to do an album release event and I wanted to make it like a big thing with like art and like vendors and different bands playing. So I hit up a bunch of different places and I didn't really hear back from that many places. It wasn't really falling into place. And then like last minute, we actually played a house show in Isla Vista. And that was like insane. It was so fun. Like people were on the roof. There was like a van outside and people were on top of the van. It was like huge and it was so fun. And I'm really glad we did it that way because it really felt like the energy that was needed, like that kind of DIY and just very like real energy. But I'm
glad Isla Vista has not changed.
Yeah.
It has not changed at all. Because that's where we got our start. We played on the 6-5 block of DP every weekend.
Really?
Yeah. Because my drummer lived there.
Oh, that's so funny.
So, and my guitar player and bass player also went to UCSB. So we would play their houses too.
I honestly didn't know that. I love that.
It was stressful. Because I would have to get work off every weekend. Like, oh yeah, we're going to buy a keg and we're going to play the house. And then like, it kind of worked. Like my drummer's mentality was like, freshmen don't go down far enough. So we'll get all the freshmen. And it's true because over that next 4 years, those kids got into KCSB and they would book us a lot of shows at UCSB because they saw us when they were freshmen.
Smart.
You have to think 4 years ahead, but like it worked. Yeah.
Yeah. Playing shows in IV is really cool too, because I feel like people like, they get really excited about music.
Yeah.
And they get,
because they're excited not to be home in their hometown. Like they're in college for the first time and
they get
there's a band
like interested and invested in the music. Yeah. Like just from playing that show, like I've had so many people like reach out to me and like want to come to my other shows.
Totally.
Yeah. It's been really cool.
It's pretty crazy when you go out of town and it's like, yo man, I saw you when I was a student at UCSB. I live here. I live in Pittsburgh now, but like sick, you're still doing your thing. Like that conversation happens all the time to me.
I love that.
I'm like, oh, I'm old. Oh, I've been doing this a long time. Like that's when it hits me. Like, oh, you're like an adult now, dude. Yeah. But I also remembered being young and playing in IV. I was like 14 when I was first playing in Isla Vista. And the older bands that would like invite us to play shows, like when I became 21, looked at me and were like, dude, you're old now. I'm like, yeah, dude. That's how it works. So now it's just,
I don't even know how old you are. Like, honestly.
I'm 31.
That's not old.
I know, but like in music terms, it's old.
I think that this is actually something that needs to be like broken
debunked.
Down. Yeah, I really think so, because it's like, I don't think there should be like an age cap on music, and I feel like people get better with age, and I'm like super inspired by musicians who are way older than me. I mean, I feel like they just like, their music like refines with time. Yep.
And then you have more life experiences. There's more to write about. There's you just get better at your instrument.
Yeah.
Like, so
I think that's such bullshit. Like,
yeah, it sucks.
I really think so, and I feel like we don't have to give in to that, and I feel like we can all collectively rise against that and be gray-haired rock stars.
Yeah, I'm at that point now. I used to hate my birthday, but now I love it because I realize how many people didn't make it to 31.
Yeah,
and I'm still here, and this is like amazing that I get another day. Like, this is fucking awesome.
It's a huge blessing, and also age is just a number. Right? Nobody ever really knows how old I am. Like, everyone thinks I'm so much younger than I am. I feel like I kind of have like a baby face and everything. So, I feel like that like. Well, I guess like if I go by the system, will like work to my advantage in music, but I personally just don't think it matters, and I feel like the people that don't think it matters, they really go further. Like, think about Patti Smith, I love Patti Smith, and she's out there doing her thing, and I don't know how old she is, like in her 70s or something.
Easily.
Yeah, she's such a legend, and
she's great.
She's
and
awesome.
It's just just keep making good art, and it doesn't. No one will ask your age if the songs are good.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Your age doesn't show up on your Spotify profile. Just make the good songs. Like,
I'm never gonna stop like making music and doing what I do just because of age. That doesn't make sense to me.
When did you start playing?
Guitar?
Yeah.
Well, I was given a guitar by a family friend when I was like 13, I believe. And yeah, he heard me singing and was like, you should really have this, maybe you could like write some songs. And so I started like strumming the guitar and and making up little songs. But yeah, I mostly played like guitar in order to write songs and accompany myself. And so, yeah, like the past like 5 years, I've really put more into like getting better at guitar and like learning theory and everything. So not that that's
so
like,
it's always about being a writer.
Yes, it's all about writing to me. Like, even, I mean, I always wanted to be like a performer in some way, and I always wanted to make music. But like, even before I really committed to that, like, I want to be a singer and a songwriter, like, I wanted to be a writer, like an author. And I was always really into poetry, and I just read a lot when I was younger. So I think that like expressing myself through my words has like been my greatest passion, and then just like that I'm able to sing them, like that just takes it to the next level, because I feel like people are a lot more receptive to like, I don't know, hearing your words if it's sung. I don't know, it feels more powerful sometimes.
And what was that click? What do you remember the age you were when it clicked, like, oh, I think I want to like do this for real?
I think like I started doing musical theater when I was like a little kid.
Oh,
like
really?
I was like 6 or 7, and my mom was like, you should really try this, probably because I was very dramatic. And I really loved, like, I at first I wanted to be like an actor and maybe like be in musical theater and like be that triple threat, like dancing and acting and singing. And then like as time went on, when I went into high school, I remember I was in this one play, and I really wanted to like have a really big like role and have a lot of lines and stuff, but like that just didn't really ever like pan out for me. Like I don't think I'm really like that great at acting and playing other characters. But I got this role where I was like singing this song, and I was supposed to be this like 60s like psychedelic singer.
Yeah.
Like it was modeled off like Grace Slick. It was like a student written play. It was so funny. It was like music through the decades. And I like was so into that part. So like we actually took this show on a little tour, and we went to like Europe and everything. It was so cool. So I was like singing every night. And I was like, this is for sure my thing, because with acting, I'd get so nervous, and I would be like, oh God, I can't forget the lines. And I couldn't really fully be in it. Yeah. But with singing, I was just like transcending, and everyone was like, dang, you got pipes. Like they were really receptive to me as a singer, more so than like an actor. And I was like, this is it. This is it for me. Yeah. And
So what grade was that? That was like,
I was in 9th grade.
Okay, so you're about 14.
I think I like knew before that I wanted to write music and be a singer. And I always like, that's always been like a thing for me. I'm very like persistent. Like when I have some idea, I just don't let go of it. And I've always wanted to be like an artist in some way.
Where'd you grow up?
I grew up half in San Francisco, half in Palo Alto, because my parents lived in 2 different places. And yeah, so I would associate most of my upbringing with San Francisco. But yeah, I definitely was like half city kid, half suburb kid. Right. It was an interesting upbringing.
Oh, that's cool. I'm going to the Bay Area this weekend.
Yeah, Bay Area. Oh, yeah. Oh, cool.
My sister's going to USF.
Oh, nice.
So we're going to take her there and do the orientations and do the whole thing. Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
It should be interesting. I haven't been up to the Bay Area since before the pandemic. Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know what the vibes are up like there.
Yeah, I don't know. But San Francisco is like one of my favorite cities.
Oh, it's so fun.
Yeah, I've always thought like I'll end up living back there again someday. I'm not sure, things always change, but I love that city.
There was a moment where like most of my friends lived up there, and then the pandemic happened. Now I'm like, oh, I don't think I know anyone left.
Yeah, totally. A lot of people moved with the pandemic. I feel like a lot of people were like seeking respite in more like rural areas, Yeah.
Do you have a rural town that you think you can go to?
I don't know. I mean, honestly, I think of like Santa Barbara as like that like
getaway.
Like a getaway. Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, that's why I moved here, because I was living in LA before that, and I just kind of felt really overwhelmed and like overstimulated.
Yeah, LA's weird.
Yeah, I had to like, I needed like a break, and Santa Barbara was like my saving grace. Yeah.
You're like, this feels familiar.
Honestly, I felt like my nervous system had been like on high alert for like a few years, and I was like, whoa, I feel like I'm just shedding layers and able to be like myself again. Yeah.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
And that's nice. So, LA for me, I was there for 3 years, and it was just like I had these ideas that I was going to network and play shows, and ended up just like working all the time and not doing any of that stuff. I was like, this sucks. And then the more and more I think about it, when I came back to Santa Barbara, I was like, you just create stuff and put it on the internet, and it doesn't matter where you are.
I think that's very true. And that was the realization I had. And that's such a common story about LA, because it's like really hard to make it work there.
And the friend thing, I always say this, it's such a big city, but it's the most loneliest city I've ever been to. Unless your friends live in the same neighborhood as you, it's like kind of hard to get from this place to that place.
Right,
like,
right.
If you have friends on the west side, and I was like living in Highland Park, it's very different to like go to Santa Monica and hang out with some friends. That's a long drive.
Yeah,
like,
I think that like you have to drive kind of like 40 minutes to an hour
anywhere.
to like go to an event or see your friends. Like it just kind of causes this like disjunct, like stunted flow of energy in your life, and it like doesn't really allow for like spontaneity, because you really have to like plan for things. And it's interesting. I think a lot of people like, I'm sure a lot of people love LA and it works for them. And I think at times, like, I honestly love visiting. I think that's more for me. Like, it's a treat for me to go and visit LA and be in that energy for like a night or two. But, I don't know if I really see myself living there. And even though I had a lot of cool friends there and people I still keep up with. I don't know.
Do you have any shows planned for LA?
I don't have anything planned at the moment, but I would love to, honestly. I think that's a great place to play. Yeah. And I'd really love to play the Echo. That's one of my biggest dreams. So when you said that, I was like so happy for you guys.
The Echo's awesome.
Yeah.
I haven't played the Echo since the change of ownership, because I knew the original owners. But now it's like owned by Live Nation, so I was like, "Well, that's it. I'm never gonna play there." And then I did, and it was cool. It was awesome. They did some nice renovations to it, and it looks nice. And it's cool. Yeah. I don't know, but the reason why I asked that is because usually when bands go on tour, and I know you haven't toured, but like you kind of go through all these random towns, and like everyone falls in love with a different rural city, and like mine is Boise, Idaho. It's not that rural compared to the rest of the state, but I love Boise, Idaho. Boise. And I was talking to my buddy Misha from Sad Girl, and his is El Paso. Like there's these random little towns, and El Paso is pretty super cool, and I wouldn't say it's random, but like you don't think, I should move to El Paso. I should move to Boise, but they're very cool.
I think one cool place that I've been to was, have you ever been to like Mendocino area? Mm-mm. Oh my God, it's really magical there, like up north. It's just like a magical kind of like fairyland. Cool. Just beautiful. But I visited a friend who lived there on like a farm, and there was this nearby town called Point Arena. It's like a coastal town, and like I don't know if this is true, but she told me like 400 people live there, so it's like a very, very small coastal town. And like it seemed like everybody like knew each other. And I went to the town, and I like stopped at their like food co-op, and I was just like, wow, like should I just
could this be my life?
I was like, it was right before I moved to LA. I was like, do I just want to move to Point Arena? And I was like, no, can't do that. I was like, should I just become like a farmer and or work at the farmer's market? No. I want to make music. Yeah. But you can make music from anywhere,
but the access to shows is different too.
That is true.
That's the hard part. Like I keep saying that you can make shows, you can do anything, but like if you're living in like the middle of fucking nowhere, and it's like taking you more than 10 hours to get to a major city, you got to move just a little closer. Yeah. You gotta,
I think it's okay to like live in surrounding areas, but that is true for playing shows.
It's hard. Yeah. And I think the best way to make fans is playing live. Yeah. There's no cheat code. It's like you have to get out there and play.
I agree, because I think those are like the more long-term fans, you know? Yeah. It's more real. Yeah, because someone could see you like for 2 seconds on the internet and be like, wow, that's cool, and follow you, and then they forget about you, and then maybe they unfollow you later, you know. So.
But it's the live experience that you can't replicate on the internet, even with the live sessions or whatever. Like I did some too, because that's all we could do in the pandemic. I was like, do some live sessions, like that's kind of cool, but like it's not the same. It's its own thing, but you can't beat the live show.
I agree. And it's also like that's important to me because I like to like check in with myself about like what is this about for me, and like I don't think it's really about like selling like myself, like my brand. For me, it's just like I want to have like transmit like a healing experience to someone, like channel like the divine, you know, so people can feel connected to that as well. And it's like, okay, like maybe they will forget who I am, and that's not really like so important to me. I think like the live experience and bringing like that moment of understanding and connection and like joy to someone is more important to me than like, yeah, just like the idea of getting fans or whatever.
Yeah.
You know?
What was your original goal when you wanted to start a band? Like, was there a band in particular, like, oh, if we could be like them, or was there like what was the goal?
Well, I made the album with my friend Max, and then I was like, I just want to play this live. So that was my goal of creating the band. But also, like, I just love to perform. Like I told you, I began in musical theater, and I'm like a very theatrical person, and I like to just like get fully into the energy and like lose my shit on stage. It just like, it feels really good to me, and when I'm like performing, it's really all I want to do, and this is like what I feel is my purpose. So like having a band to me is like giving me wings to do that.
Totally.
Yeah, because I do love performing solo too, but it feels a lot more, I feel so exposed, and like it's such a raw experience, and I like to feel like all the energy of the instruments around me, and to like really command.
You gotta feel the drums and the bass. You know, that's like what feels like a real show to me. Like I don't mind people who play them by themselves, but I've never enjoyed playing by myself. Like it's not enough.
I like it, and I think it's good character building, but it honestly is tough, and I respect like
I think the environment has too much into play. Like if everyone's not super quiet or like not fully on you, I feel like if people are talking, it's a loud bar or something, and then they're talking and you're trying to play, it's like
it feels like
the environment has a big factor.
Demoralizing. Oh my god.
But if you're in the right space and everyone's quiet, it's like, oh, that's awesome.
When it's amazing, and you feel like so uplifted and like so seen, and it's good vibes. But when you play in those settings where like nobody's listening, or like even worse, they kind of like don't want to hear you, you know, they're like shut up.
Yeah, totally.
That's when it's like you try not to take it personally, because it's like, you know, everyone has their different reasons for maybe not want to hearing music right now, but it hurts. It
totally does.
I've totally like cried after a few like solo performances, even though I knew I was like, I did my best, and I actually don't feel bad about my performance itself. Like it just felt like so disconnected to me. That was like painful.
That's like a very real thing that I've experienced as well. Like, oh, there's just something missing from the audience to me, and I didn't know there was maybe no way we could win them over.
Totally.
You know, maybe you're opening for a band and it's not it. You know, they just want to hear the headliner, and you're like in the way. Like that happens a lot. It's so interesting. It's like it's really good to have those character building experiences, though. I feel like it's good to have a tough exterior with that kind of stuff. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. How long have we been talking?
I don't know. It's a good question.
Okay, you brought your record. Promote the record.
Yeah. So this is my newest record, and it's pressed on vinyl. It's called Angel City Radio.
Who did the album art?
So the photo was taken by my friend Paige Strabala. She's incredible, and it's so cool, like how convincing this looks. I'm in like an abandoned theater or something, but I don't know if it can be seen on screen. But this was actually in her garage with an old theater spotlight. I was sweating bullets.
Wow.
And this was in her garage too, in her friend's old car.
Wow.
And we just dimmed the lights and then like had some red lights. It's so lights. Cool. I like to talk about that because I'm like, it's just so crazy.
Talk about it.
And I love like the whole DIY aspect of that. But full-length album, 11 songs. Angel City Radio is what it's called. And there are 2 different pressings of it. This one I love. It's clear with a black splatter, and all the black splatters are different. They're all unique.
Yeah.
And it kind of reminded me of like a Rorschach test.
Totally.
Like, and I thought that was like just so creepy, and like, it's a very like reflective and kind of haunting album. So I thought that really fit. And then we've got this one, which is like the classic white record. Nice and shiny.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, so
that was really hard for me to pick a vinyl color.
Yeah, I had definitely had like a lot of back and forth in my mind about it, and actually ran it by like Paige, the woman who shot the photos. I was like, what do you think? And she gave me some insight, and I'm really happy that like I felt like her insight really brought it together for me. But yeah, I'm so freaking stoked about this album, and I've never felt like something I created was like so true to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like this was like the album for me, and it's like only my first album, so maybe
and this is just the beginning.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Like I feel so solid about this that like I still like love these songs and I love performing them. Yeah, it makes me happy.
Nice. Well, let's talk about that day shooting the artwork. Like, what was it like?
Oh yeah, well, we kind of had like a rough idea beforehand of what we wanted, and I described to her, like gave her some keywords, like I wanted sort of like a David Lynch vibe, and for it to be sort of eerie and theatrical and like a closed down theater like that, and I also liked the kind of costuming, like a little bit like of a Joker or the Fool, because I was thinking about this, like there's like I think it's a tarot card, like the Fool, the Sacred Fool. And I loved that idea of just like, it's like what I was talking about before about not giving into like perfectionism and just like being the full multifaceted human that you are, being a beginner, being willing to, be an amateur and to mess up. And I feel like that's just like where it's at with creativity for me. So that was kind of like the outfit, the sort of like
cool,
the Fool. So those were
how long of a day was that? You guys was about 8 hour day.
It was a long day. Because
that's something people don't think about. Those things can be so long, and music videos can take so long.
And it was like we went insane. Like we did like 4 different shoots. We were literally shooting till like 2 or 3 in the morning, and we had like different costume changes. We did like that theater scene, and then we like went to a pond where there were all these ducks. This was actually
to drop
Paige's
the
idea.
alternative. Art.
There's some on my Instagram.
Nice.
But Paige was like, I just have this like weird idea and I really want to try it. And I was like, yeah, I'm down. So we went to this like duck pond, and it was like at nighttime, and she like shined these lights on me, and it was so funny. She sprinkled breadcrumbs around me, and then all the ducks were like coming towards me. I was like, oh shoot. I was like holding my guitar. Yeah,
that's awesome.
So that was like very strange. I don't know really why we did that. And I also had all these like pearls like bejeweled on my face. It was really random, but they look super cool, honestly. That part was her vision, and she made something happen that I had never seen before. There's actually a photo of like this duck like attacking me, and I'm like, with my guitar. It's so funny.
That's the beauty of collaboration, especially with people who really focus on like photography and videography. They just have an eye for stuff. You're just like,
she has like such a brilliant mind. Like she's an amazing photographer, and she had so many cool ideas. I loved working with her.
Awesome.
And she really helped like guide my ideas, because I had like kind of loose keywords, and then she was like, what about this? What about this? She really brought it together. So we did so many different shoots.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's
it was
awesome.
really cool.
All right, let's wrap it up. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
I don't know.
Where can people buy the album?
Answer that question. So there is a link in my bio on Instagram. The albums
Where does that lead you to?
The albums are selling on actually my dad's business,
Ooh.
Rickshaw Bag Works in San Francisco. Okay. They also make awesome bags and backpacks, and they designed some tote bags for me. Not guitar bags, but like backpacks and tote bags and things. So they designed tote bags for me as well, and that page is up there. It was actually really crazy. They set up that page for me, and I had also pressed Wax Mage records. Do you know what those are?
No.
They're like hand poured randomized colors, so they kind of look like a LSD, like tie-dye swirl. And I didn't know there's like such a big collector following of Wax Mage Records.
Whoa.
Because my dad like set up this page for selling my vinyls, and then he like went out of town. He went camping and he didn't have service. And I noticed that he didn't set limits on the records, and I was like, oh shoot. So I just won't post about it yet because people only really know about my music on Instagram.
Yeah.
But then overnight, this like Wax Mage collector group, like a Facebook group, they found my record and it like sold out like a few times over.
Oh shit.
Yeah, we had to refund a lot of people. But it was so cool, honestly. Like, I feel really bad to disappoint people, but I was just like amazed that like so many people were interested.
Whoa.
And a lot of people like contacted me about it and were like, we love your album, blah, blah, blah. And people now, as they're like, the records are shipping out, like all those people that bought them, they're like posting photos and like really awesome, like sweet reviews.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's so cool.
That's the best.
I didn't know about that, but I highly recommend pressing Wax Mage Records. And they also
I'm
are
gonna look into that
beautiful.
now. Yeah.
Yeah. I love the aspect of each one being different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's so cool.
That's amazing.
So anyways, they're available on that website, Rickshaw Bagworks, but link in my bio.
Link in the bio. All right.
You know where it is.
Dude, thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This was so fun.